Hi everyone, this is Amy Major. I know that some of you have seen me before, some of you haven't, and some of you are like, who is this chick? So I just want to give you guys a little bit of an intro to me. My name is Amy Major. I am a rescue medium, been a rescue medium for about 25 years. And you may have seen me in with my books. I have my books here that I want to show you. I have Toward the Light, Light the Way, and Release the Light. And yes, I have the word light in all my books. There's reasons for that. I do have 2 more books coming out, and hopefully, my Spirit Rescue deck that will be coming out in the next year or 2. Let's see, fingers crossed on that one. I'm also a podcast host of Spirit Rescue Talk. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to link the Spirit Rescue Talk onto this channel. This channel is my personal channel. Spirit Rescue Talk is my podcast channel on YouTube, and I post it all over the place, Facebook, TikTok, wherever. Social media I can figure out. At my age, can barely figure it out these days. And then, of course, I've created an online school, if you can kind of see it here, SRC, which is the Spirit Rescue Center. At the Spirit Rescue Center, I've actually created an online learning school to learn all about spirit rescue. And of course, I do have psychic and mediumship classes as well. So I wanted to get on today just to do an intro for you of who I am and what I'd like to talk about. And of course, the first subject is, what is an earthbound spirit? Because I know many of you probably have that question. A lot of you would probably have no clue of what an earthbound spirit is, and some are like, why do you guys keep calling it earthbound spirit? I'm going to tell you. So I've been doing rescue mediumship for about 25 years. It's going to be 26 soon, coming into the year 2026. I did start in the year 2000 many years ago after a wonderful astrology reading told me that I was a medium, and I thought she was crazy, but that's okay. That's a whole other subject. But when I started getting involved in mediumship, I started going to a lot of development classes and circle groups at spiritualist churches. Soon did I find out that I was a rescue medium, because I kept getting swarmed by what we call earthbound spirits, or a lot of you call the word ghost. I'm fine with the word ghost because, you know, I've watched all the movies, Poltergeist and all the haunted movies, which I was not a big fan of growing up. I really wasn't into the dark and spooky, scary stuff when I was younger. I was really into kind of movies about heaven and the afterlife and God and, you know, going to church as a kid. So when I started getting involved in mediumship, I had the expectation that I was going to connect to spirits in the light, which I do, but I was not expecting to be swarmed with what we call earthbound spirits all the time. And when I say all the time, it's morning, noon, and night, particularly at night, every day for years. And no one really had the opportunity to kind of train me. I did have a few teachers that knew something about rescue mediumship, which we'll talk about a little bit more, but not many mediums did. So I kind of had to learn through the guidance and teaching of my spirit guides and my angels and the spirit world itself. So a lot that I learned, I am now teaching people internationally through my school, but also I do mentorship, and I also do a lot of one-on-one education, plus my books are out there as well, which I really like. So there's more and more people talking about rescue mediumship than it was when I first started, because when I first started, no one was talking about rescue mediumship, and I had a real hard time talking about it because every time I asked questions, people like, you're not supposed to talk to those spirits. Those spirits are bad. Push them away. And that was hard to do, you know, especially when they kept coming over and over and over again. So finally, my teacher said, go to your guides. So I went to my guides. I said, what's up? What's going on here? And they eventually told me I'm a medium that is supposed to specialize in helping these spirits that aren't quite in the light and to help them find their way into the light. And they started using a lot of terminology such as earthbound spirit and transition and states of consciousness and awareness, and a lot of the things that I didn't have any awareness to. So I started going on Google and started searching away, and sure enough, other mediums around the world were using the same terms that they were giving me. So I'm like, oh my God, Eureka, I found it. I found what I was looking for. I was looking for other mediums that had the same experience. And so through the years, I started trusting everything my guides were telling me, and I was thrown into the fire quite often with a lot of scenarios I had with earthbound spirits, which wasn't easy because some of them are quite needy, others are quite negative, which is why a lot of mediums, and I'm talking a lot of mediums, want nothing to do with this type of work. But I got thrown into it, so I didn't really have a choice. I mean, I did, but I didn't, because I had a contract and agreement with this. So many years later, I've learned quite a bit about what earthbound spirits are and rescue mediumship. And I have been finding throughout the years, there's been a lot of pushback from other mediums, other people in the spiritual and metaphysical fields that really don't like rescue mediumship, and they say earthbound spirits don't exist, for one, because free will does not exist in the death process. So you hear a lot out there of what other mediums' viewpoint are, and everybody has the right to believe whatever they want. There are many truths in this world, many truths, and everybody has the right to believe what they want. But I believe through experience. And I believe through what my guides tell me, and I believe through what I feel is right in my heart. So I want to explain a little bit about what an earthbound spirit is, just so you have an idea that it is actually true, why it actually happens, and what we can do about it. Because being earthbound isn't the worst thing in the world. There's a lot of mediums out there like, oh, the spirit's earthbound. They're in such trauma and tragedy. I'm like, oh, well, they're not in a good place, for sure. But they're not where they're trapped. And I really want that to be clear. So I want to talk for a little bit. Let's talk about the term earthbound spirit. An earthbound spirit, in a nutshell, is a spirit that has left their physical body in the death process. And through various states of transition, the spirit will either delay, halt, or stop in any way, shape, or form their full transition to what we call the light. Now, the reason why a spirit delays or halts their full transition is an individual experience. We can't say, oh, it happens for this or it happens for that. We can give general ideas and theories about why these spirits don't move into light, but it is unique to the soul itself. Every reason why a spirit doesn't transition is up to them. Now, often these spirits don't transition because of attachment. Whatever it is they're attached to. Emotional attachment, mental attachment. Not physical, because they're not in a physical body anymore, but emotional and mental attachment. What are attachments? Pain, suffering, fear, trauma, even love. Anything that keeps a spirit focused on the physical world and not the full transition into light can keep them in an attached focus that keeps them in a lower state of consciousness and frequency. I'll get into that a little bit more. So when a spirit leaves their physical body, many people find like a tunnel. People come and greet them. You know, you see the movie Ghost. There's a big white light that kind of opens up, and Patrick Swayze's character looks at it like, yeah, I don't think so, because something else is going on over here, and I got to find resolution for this first. Very traditional reasons why spirits don't go into light is because they're focused on their attachment. His attachment was, somebody just killed me. I'm really upset about this, and I have to do something about it. That's a form of attachment. So when a spirit sees the tunnel or sees the light or sees their guides and angels or family waiting there for them, they decide to focus on something else. They focus on whatever it is that's causing them pain, harm, or some type of upset that makes them say, I need to resolve this first before I make the full transition to the other side. Sometimes spirits are in trauma. they're in crisis, and they're very confused in the death process. And I want to explain why. When somebody leaves their physical body, they are no longer abide by the laws of physicality. So their reality now becomes a projection of their consciousness. We are always in a state of conscious projection, whether you know it or not. Our souls are here in a projection in the physical world that tells us that we are living a physical experience. That may or may not be actually true. We might not actually be here, but rather we're just dreaming that we are here. And I know a lot of people talk about that out there. Our consciousness is projected into a physical experience. We are focused on it. We are so hyper-focused on it that we believe it to be true because we are physically feeling it. Now, when an earthbound spirit or spirit steps out of their physicality, out of the physical body, they now have to go to a new projection. This new projection is wherever their consciousness leads them. It can lead them into a state of suffering or in a state of love. The majority of spirits move to the state of love. They release from their physical traumas, their pain, their suffering, their physical experience, and they easily move into higher states of transition, what we call the light. Those that do not go into the light stay what we call earthbound. And the reason we say they're earthbound is because they are in a denser frequency in the astral plane. The astral plane actually overlaps the earth plane. They're not like parallel to each other. They're not like, they don't meet and then there's a line. And the analogy of crossing over, that's a huge one. They're thinking once you cross over that veil, you're now in the light. And that's not always true. There are actually many states and many levels of vibrational frequency in the astral plane. So when a person leaves their physical body, they're now in the physical and then the astral plane. They're in various states and densities of the astral plane. So when they move into a trauma projection, they're in a lower state of density in the astral plane. And we call that earthbound because it's closer to the earth frequency, the earth plane, than it is the higher states of the astral plane. They are always, and I'm talking always, in the astral plane. They are not in the physical plane anymore. They can't be because they're no longer physical. But they can project their consciousness in and out of states of density so that the physical people, us here, mediums in the physical world, can still see them, experience them, and feel them here in the physical world. We could see them and experience them easier than we can somebody that's in the light or higher states of astral projection. They're in a higher vibrational frequency. So I don't want you thinking that these spirits are stuck in the earth plane and they can't reach the astral plane. That's a stereotype. That is not true at all. All spirits are in the astral plane. But if you're thinking of the astral plane, think of 7 levels. And I always tell people, think of like an apartment complex. There are 7 levels. So when a spirit moves into that apartment complex, they're on the lower floors. They can't see what's up. They can't see their guides. They can't see their angels. They can't see their family. They're on the higher levels of that apartment complex. So these earthbound spirits are on the density, and they can't see. They don't know where they are. They don't know where they're going. They just know they're not where they're supposed to be. No one likes being on the bottom floor. Everybody wants to be in the penthouse. But these earthbound spirits are wandering. And who do they see? They see mediums, such as myself or other mediums that have a vibrational match or attunement to an earthbound spirit frequency. We attract these earthbound spirits because we are in the same vibrational frequency so they can see us. Guides, angels, ancestors are on higher vibrational frequencies, and just because they're all in the spirit world doesn't mean they can all be seen. Not so much. It's not that easy. So earthbound spirits wander in various levels of density in the lower astral plane, and they're just wandering until they seek resolution. How do they find that resolution? Usually through conscious projection of their guides and angels that are trying to project some form of resolution to them, healing, love, guidance. Sometimes their family can project their consciousness into that density for a short time to try to get through to that earthbound spirit. Other times, the earthbound spirit has a density and they can see us and we can connect to the earthbound spirit, talk to them, counsel them. And that's what rescue mediumship is. Mediums that connect to earthbound spirits to counsel them, help them release their attachment to whatever it is that's creating suffering for them in any way, shape, or form. And then we connect them to their guides, angels, and ancestors so they can make the complete transition to the higher state so they can kind of release that density in their energy, in their aura. So I don't want anyone thinking that just because a spirit is earthbound that they're stuck. Now I want to go into a little bit more detail with that. There's a lot of people out there that say, oh, because they're stuck and trapped, earthbound spirits don't exist, because I don't believe that spirits are stuck or trapped beyond their will. And they are correct with that. There are no spirits that are stuck beyond their free will. Everything's a choice. Now, it's hard for us to believe that because we're like, well, why would they want to be earthbound? Because they choose to. Every time you have a thought, emotion, some type of projection of density that creates a state of trauma, suffering. We are suffering every day, whether we like it or not, because we choose to suffer. That's a whole other subject. But when spirits are feeling heavy emotion, when they're having memories, when they're concentrating on their traumatic death, when they're trying to seek resolution, they keep themselves in a state of suffering through their choice. Now, quite often, a lot of these spirits don't know how to release their energy from this trauma. And that's where they sometimes feel stuck. They feel stuck, not physically stuck. Spirits can't actually be physically stuck against their will. It's not possible. But they can be stuck in a state of mind. They can be stuck in a thought consciousness projection that keeps them in a rotation or a cycle that keeps them going over their trauma over and over and over again. Quite often we say, I feel emotionally stuck. I feel mentally stuck. And that's what we mean with an earthbound spirit. They feel stuck because they don't know how to get out of their trauma or out of their suffering. And that's when counseling, healing, and love steps in to kind of help them through that situation. So I don't want people thinking, oh, spirits can't be stuck. Well, if we can be stuck here in the physical world through emotion, mental projection of our own trauma and our own suffering, spirits can too. They're not beyond the law of free will. Even in death, we have free will. We have the ability to say whether we are or we aren't going to do something. God gave us choice regardless of our state of being. We always have free will. So I want you guys just to remember that all spirits do, even in death. We don't want any spirits to remain earthbound. We don't, but it isn't the worst thing in the world. And my many years experience of dealing with most of the earthbound spirits I have, they all know they're dead. At least the majority of them know that they're dead. And they're wandering, going, I don't really know where to go. I can't see anything. I don't know where the light is. I don't know where my guides are. I don't know where Jesus is. Many of them say, I feel stuck because I don't know where to go. That feeling of stuck is just their projection, and they are projected into a reality where they feel stuck. That's all it is. So I want you to know an earthbound spirit is here seeking resolution. They find help through various means, and we help them lift their vibrational frequency so that they can feel better. That's all rescue mediums do. We just help them feel better. And we help remind them that there is a spirit world of a higher frequency waiting for them. So I'd like to answer more questions that you guys have, but I'm just beginning this again. Again, I do have my YouTube channel for my Spirit Rescue Talk, where we talk a lot about spirit rescue, but we also interview a lot of people that work in the spirit rescue field, paranormal field, metaphysical field, and spiritual field as well, because we all work together as a team. So if you have any questions, please put them down here under comment, ask away. You can also reach me at my website and through Facebook. I'm happy to help in any way. Thank you.